Now, firstly, these recognition programs need a name, they need a theme, and they need an identity. Well, one of the greatest challenges in any recognition program faces is maintaining momentum after the newness of the program wears off. It's very typical for these recognition programs to start off very strong with lots of employee participation and support, and then they fade off into obscurity. So maintaining a recognition program takes a lot of effort and constant monitoring. In fact, the best practice for recognition programs is change and flexibility. So as the stakeholder of your organization's recognition program, you have to frequently review the program and make the necessary tweaks and adjustments to keep it running like a well-oiled machine. Now, firstly, these recognition programs need a name, they need a theme, and they need an identity. This allows for the employees to recognize the reward, understand its purpose, and then strive to achieve it. It's also very important to let the managers and employees know that the recognition program is an important part of the culture of the organization and that you expect the participation of everyone. And this can be done by holding them accountable and sending out frequent reminders about the program as well. Now, sometimes these programs do become stale as the needs of the employees shift away from what the program offers, but there is an easy fix to help employers keep this current, right? So in addition to the rewards offered, we can look towards pop culture for signs of what would be attractive. This could include anything between tickets to a highly anticipated concert, tickets to a sporting event like a cricket match, flight tickets to a local popular destination. And if the budget is tight, then incentivizing employees with time off from work always works as well. But just be sure that you include fine print in that reward program and make sure that you don't have staff taking time off during peak periods, resulting in a loss of productivity for the business. If these still aren't working, then the main thing is that you need to talk to your employees. So run a short survey or have your managers ask their staff what they'd like to be rewarded with, because the biggest problem is spending money on a program which just doesn't excite the staff. You don't have their buy-in and they just never strive to achieve it. And then once you've identified the reward, be sure to communicate that new reward to all the staff and communicate that regularly and clearly in order to help the employees achieve it. So managers should never feel they're too busy to recognize their staff. This is a clear sign of a toxic work environment. If we're unable to at the very least say thank you to our staff for work well done, then Houston, we have a problem. However, the reality is that managers do sometimes get overwhelmed by technical tasks and overlook the recognition of their staff's efforts. This type of behavior can lead to a plethora of problems, including poor communication within the team, loss of productivity, and oftentimes your top performing staff end up becoming poor performers. My solution to this problem has always been inclusion. When managers are too busy to recognize their staff, there's a simple way to improve the efficacy of both parties. Firstly, managers should identify the top performers in their team and then ask them to assist the manager in completing complex tasks. This allows for the staff member to feel engaged, empowered, and recognized without too much effort on the manager's part. And another easy solution is assigning training to staff to empower them and retain their level of engagement at work. Obviously, there will be pushback from managers as they fear their staff outshining them in the tasks that they're supposed to be performing, and then they start to feel redundant. However, again, this is a company culture problem. We should always strive towards the common goal. There will always be somebody else who can perform the same management function and sometimes do it better, but that should be an indication for the manager to reevaluate themselves and decide whether there's an underlying problem within themselves that needs to be addressed. So a discussion with HR could potentially unravel whether the manager needs additional training for themselves to make them more secure in their role and also help them better manage their time. Alternatively, there needs to be a discussion held with senior management, and that discussion needs to be around whether there needs to be more staff added to the team and reduce the workload for the manager so the manager can focus on the technical tasks as well as recognizing the employees. But again, Managers should never feel that they're too busy to recognize their staff. That's a clear indication of things going awry. So employer branding is a long-standing concept that found momentum in the interconnected world. And having a reputable employer brand is a must for an organization strategy because it helps companies recruit better candidates, it reduces your hiring and marketing costs, and in essence, it improves productivity. Being part of a right company culture is extremely important to every employee. The majority of employees go and do their research on social media channels of employers before they even apply to a job, because they want to have an idea of what the brand image is. Also, through these channels, they have a clear idea of the expectations of the employer and whether they see themselves fitting into the company culture. So if you have a well-known brand, then you don't need to spend as much on recruitment costs. So potential candidates find you and apply to those positions naturally, and it also allows you to grow your talent pool organically. You can spend these savings on your product branding or your product development in order to get ahead of your competitors. So there's a win-win for everybody. Employees who work in strong brands are generally also more enthusiastic and more motivated. And having more motivated employees is great for an employer because they're more productive, and more productivity means greater financial rewards and, in essence, more growth for the business. So employer branding should never be underestimated.